Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of FLX Brunch. I am your host, Christina, from the Finger Lakes Wine Country team. And with me today, of course, is our fearless leader, Lori Ward, our president of Finger Lakes Wine Country. And joining us today is the executive director of the Cayuga Lake Wine Trail, Kathy Chase. Hi, Kathy.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Of course. Welcome, welcome. So before we get started, we have to settle a debate.
Okay.
I grew up in the region, and I've always said Cayuga. Cayuga. There's other way. Cayuga.
I think I say it both ways because a lot of times on the phone, Cayuga and Cayuga sound the same. So when I'm really trying to emphasize it, I say Cayuga. But generally, I'm just Cayuga.
Cayuga.
That doesn't help settle the debate, but
then there's also like the upstate New York, like long A, like the Cayuga. Lori, what do you say?
You guys know I'm not from this area originally. I was a visitor who fell in love and stayed. And I always thought it was Cayuga to differentiate between Cayuga and Cayuga. So Cayuga, which is who we have today, the Cayuga Lake Wine Trail. And we'll talk to Cayuga Lake Wine Trail at some point, but the Cayuga Lake Wine Trail, that's how I've always said, Cayuga.
Cayuga, Cayuga, Cayuga.
Cayuga. Yeah, I think it's just however you say your A's.
That's right.
Kind of.
Well, there's no wrong way. We should probably ask the people who are watching us this morning, our FLX brunch, to tell us how they think we should say.
Yes.
Yeah,
how do you
it'll just be
enunciate
a
it?
bunch of, you have to put out the pronunciation. You can't just write Cayuga or C-A-Y-U-G-A. That'll be all the comments on the video.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness. Well, so it is brunch. Thank goodness. My favorite time of the week. And I know that we all have something special in our glass. Lori, what is in your glass this morning?
Well, right now, nothing is in my glass, but I wanted to kind of ask you guys. So I have a dry rosé from Lucas Vineyards. Again, we're focusing on the Cayuga Lake Wine Trail. So Lucas Vineyards.
And I had that on our last episode. On our Mother's Day episode, I had the Lucas Vineyards dry rosé, and it was delicious. I finished the bottle because it was my duty as a mom on Mother's Day.
It was your responsibility. Yeah. It was your responsibility. It was Mother's Day. You're allowed to whatever you want.
Not that that doesn't happen often, but it's fine.
Exactly. Open bottle of wine? Never.
Fine.
Always done. It's always empty. Or I have Hosmer's Dry Rosé, another member of the Cayuga Lake Wine Trail. But it's brunch. And for some reason, in my mind, brunch is always...
We got a visitor sneaking in when he shouldn't.
Good to see you.
I guess the strawberry ice cream bribe didn't work.
Oh, no, it didn't. It didn't.
I love it. It's showing our real self.
That's right.
I also have, so brunch, I think bubbly. Right or wrong, that's what I'm thinking today. So I have Swedish Hills Naturel, or I have Swedish Hills Blanc de Blanc, and admittedly, they're all cold. So I'm bubbly. Which one should I open, ladies?
I say Blanc de Blanc because it's cool to say.
Okay. Yeah, that bottle is so pretty.
It is pretty.
Isn't it pretty?
Looks very celebratory.
You know what's nice too on the back?
Yes.
It gives us that this is a semi-dry, and not a lot of bubblies do that. So if you were drinking like a Brut, it would be on the dry end, or if you were drinking like a bubbly Moscato or something, it would be on the sweeter end.
I have a Brut in front of me, and it does not have one.
Oh, well, it would be on the
Brut means
end.
dry.
Brut means dry,
maybe
right?
it isn't necessary.
Yeah.
Good point. Good point.
That's true.
So,
see?
I'm going to open this bottle, and you'll hear the pop.
Yes.
I want to find out what you all are drinking.
Yeah, Kathy, what's in your glass?
All right, so here is my glass. I have Long Point Winery's Orabella. It is a steel-aged Chardonnay.
Oh, my fave.
Yep,
Oh.
I'm not super oaky of a drinker, And I've really just recently got into the steel-aged Chardonnays. It's kind of trendy now, actually.
Yeah, they're really delicious. I think the first unoaked steel-aged Chardonnay I had was from Fox Run Vineyards.
Mhm.
They're of course known. Scott Osborne is passionate about his Chardonnays, and that was the first one I ever had. It was many years ago, and they are delicious. I don't mind a little oaky, but I definitely prefer the unoaked.
This much oaky.
Yeah.
But,
just enough.
Yeah, I recently learned a lot about Chardonnays. I also do a podcast once a month for Finger Lakes One. It's a local news source for the area. And so I took 2 wines on. I did an unoaked versus oaked Chardonnay. And so I had to do my research.
Yeah.
And back in the day, really oaky Chardonnays were popular, that really creamy, buttery flavor. But as we've grown and progressed, it's not as popular. So even the oaky Chardonnays aren't as oaky as they once were. Some of them will steel age it and add oak chips to give it a little bit of that creaminess, but it's not overwhelming. And I'm sure there are plenty that are very oaky, but in my findings I've seen.
That's really fascinating.
Yeah.
That's really fascinating. I know that learning, that's kind of part of all of our jobs, is learning about wine and understanding the aging process and all the different ways to make wine. It's really it's a fun aspect of our job. Hi, Evan. Oh my gosh. We had our kids. Well, my kid is 5, and Lori's kids, who are grown, on our last episode, and it was so funny. They're wild.
Well, so we've got to find out from you, Christina, what is in your glass?
In my glass, I actually made a cocktail this morning. So this is my Nap Limoncello cocktail. So Nap is famous for their limoncello, and they also have a limoncello. One of my favorites. I always have to have a bottle in my fridge. We actually tasted it for the first time 2 or 3 years ago, and ever since, it's like my favorite thing. I'm a big vodka drinker when I'm not drinking wine. I love vodka, and I love flavored vodkas with just a plain seltzer. That's like my go-to cocktail typically. So you take the limoncello or the lemoncello. This is lemoncello, and I just do like half a glass on the rocks with some seltzer, and I have a little lime and wine, and it's so refreshing. It kind of like has a margarita vibe, but it's super good and awesome for summer. So cheers, ladies.
Cheers. Ding.
I agree with the citrusy flavored vodkas. I have a limoncello from Nap in my refrigerator right now. I mixed it with some sparkling lemonade this weekend. It was so good. It went down a little too easy, which I felt that next morning. But
yeah, I hear you. No, I'm all about it.
Wrong.
Except, whatever.
It's not my fault. It tasted so good. I'm a great bartender.
You're a great bartender. I saw a meme this week that was like, I was just overserved in my own home. Which is pretty much like my quarantine story. So it's been fun.
Oh, that is wonderful. Yeah, I'm always overserved in my own home. And I have to admit that your recommendation for the Blanc de Blanc is divine. Can you see those beautiful little bubbles?
Yeah. I love bubbles. They're just so fun.
They are. They're tiny bubbles. Tiny bubbles. I love it. And this is not, like I said earlier, the Brut would be a very dry. I need a little bit of sweet. I didn't want it to be dry, but I didn't want it to be ultra sweet. This is perfect.
A good balance.
Is the best blend between the two of a dry to a super sweet, and this is perfect.
Looks delicious. Looks delicious.
Brut is so good with orange juice.
With orange juice? Yeah, it's the only way to go.
Yep.
Oh, I have a mango grapefruit.
Oh.
In my
that sounds yummy. You should try it.
That would be really good.
A little splashy.
Yeah.
Well, you keep talking. I'll go get that.
Perfect. That sounds good. So
I'm an
Kathy,
Aldi shopper, so I saw, and they have like what they call the aisle of shame, where they have different things different things every week. And I saw they had a sparkling sangria, non-alcoholic. That would probably be divine with a dry sparkling. Mm-hmm.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I'm an Aldi
I almost
shopper
got
too.
a bottle, but I didn't. I don't know why I didn't.
I'm back and I lied. It wasn't, look, it's crayon mango.
Oh, I mean,
But that'll still
I've
be.
added, what is it called? It's called something when you add cranberry to instead of orange.
Well, wouldn't it be a series? But that's with vodka.
Yeah. No.
But that's with vodka,
That's
isn't it?
vodka. No, it's a name when you do like I don't know.
Well,
isn't it when you do it? So if you do sparkling wine or like a brew, I would do a dry. Oh, that's
love the color.
If you do
need
a
an umbrella
with like pineapple, it's a flirtini.
Oh, okay.
I learned that on Sex and the City.
Oh,
well, I'm gonna have to rewatch.
Yeah,
we could add something special and just call it a quarantini.
There you go.
That's perfect.
Quarantini.
Yep.
Yep, that sounds wonderful.
Oh, it's so good.
I bet it is.
I wish you guys could taste this. Here, put your glasses nearby.
Yeah, I have a glass.
Put your glass over here.
Glass here.
And I'll try to pour some for you. Christina, let me see if I can. Worth a try. It's not quite like
it was creative.
It's close. Close.
It's creative.
All right. I have a question for both of you. And so obviously Kathy has Evan, and Evan is 6 years old.
He'll be 6 in 1 month.
In 1 month.
So he might as well be 6.
And he will tell you that.
He will.
And then Christina, you have Harry, who is 5, turned 5 in January.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows, I've talked about this before. My kids are adults, and you met my kids last week.
Nice.
On FLX Brunch for Mother's Day. But I have to admit that this quarantine has not been as difficult for me because I do not have young children.
You don't need to brag about it.
Exactly.
I need to take a big slug for that.
I guess my question is, how are you keeping your sanity, ladies?
My what?
Your sanity.
What's that? Can you spell it?
What is that?
How do you pronounce that?
Sanity.
Never heard of it.
I'm not, honestly. Some days are better than others. Today I have 4 total Zoom meetings. I don't have enough bribes. I did have a board meeting this morning, and he was an angel. So I guess him peeking here for this one isn't so bad.
No, it's not.
But it's just, he's almost 6. He wants to go outside. It hasn't been nice out. I need to work. And it's just difficult. It's difficult for all of us. And on top of also having to teach.
Right.
I'm not a teacher. I would never want to be a teacher. I'm thankful he's only in kindergarten. If he was in a much more progressed grade, I couldn't do it.
No.
I don't know any of the new Common Core stuff. Right, I'd have to Google how to help him. So I guess I'm thankful for that, but it's still difficult.
Well, and on that note, cheers to all the teachers out there.
Oh my God, all the teachers.
Yeah. Cheers.
Mm-hmm.
Because now we have a renewed appreciation of the hard work that they do.
We definitely do. I think, as Kathy, you said, there's good days and there's bad days.
Mm-hmm.
And especially on the days, and I've had them with Harry where, I have meeting after meeting, it's difficult and he deserves the attention. I don't fault him, but at the same time, I have my own work to do. He has his own work to do. He wants my attention.
Mm-hmm.
And you and I share that we, have split households. So he's with me some days, he's with his dad some days. So thankfully there is a bit of a break. And it's good for him and for us.
Yes.
Even those, and that adds another layer of difficulty too. So, and one way you can look at it as a nice break, and another, there's difficult aspects of that lifestyle as well. So it's all around very challenging for sure, but we're making the best of it. And I think that you can probably agree. I think just talking to your kid, even though they're 5 or almost 6, about the fact that this is a difficult time. That's what I just keep talking to Harry about it and making sure that he understands that mommy's having a hard time some days, and it's okay for him too. He's been pretty good overall, but there's moments.
There's moments, or full days.
Or a whole, 3 days in a row where you're like pulling your hair out.
Counting down the days to Dad's house. And then I feel bad that day for feeling that way.
Exactly. Yeah, like I drop him off and I'm like, whew! And then like 2 hours later, I'm like, I miss him so much.
I walk by his empty room. I'm like,
oh.
Yeah. I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Something else I don't think either one of you have realized is both of your boys are only children. And so they don't really have a sibling. And right now, in this circumstance we're in now, you can't bring a friend over or anything like that. No. So you are their friend, you are their mother, you are their sibling, you're everything right now.
Oh, I realize this. I'm the only one to answer all the questions.
Yep.
The questions range from how do you spell Justin Bieber to can I drink this hot sauce to can I make a squishy egg and to anything else in between.
Anything.
And I don't have another parent here to deflect those questions to either. So I try to keep my patience and help me spell Justin Bieber. But
yes, I've had that where we'll be on a Zoom call with a team and Harrison's calling me from upstairs where he has a PS4, which he plays on when I'm in meetings. And he's like, Mom, how do you spell like whatever to like name his new world or something? And I'm like I put it on mute and I'm like, screaming it. It's ridiculous. They're so funny. Yeah, well, I've heard Mom, will you play with me more in the last 2 months than ever.
Oh, and you know what, ladies?
Good.
I know you're going to look at me and go, just shut up. You have no idea. But I think of my older kids and I miss those times. So I know right now is tough. I'm not negating that. I'm just saying, look at them in a way that's very short-lived.
Go away.
And hopefully it's very, very short-lived. But so.
Can you hear me lecturing him under my breath?
Yeah. I'm very good at that as well.
Yeah. Like a ventriloquist. One time during a board meeting, I had to cover up the camera with my hand because I didn't want my whole board to see my mean mom face.
Oh, yeah. I like that. It's so funny.
Something like that, I guess.
Probably. Oh my goodness. That's so funny. Well, so as we're having to mom full-time now, we're also still working full-time. So tell us a little bit about what's going on the Cayuga Lake Wine Trail during these, tough times.
Well, the Wine Trail as an organization has kind of halted a little bit. We canceled 3 of our events, which was so heartbreaking to have to do. Now I'm kind of more of a support role for the wineries and helping get their information out. So as you know, the wineries are not open for on-site consumption. They cannot do tastings, but they're getting creative. Many of them are doing virtual tastings. They're doing tours of their facilities where you can see bottling, vineyard work. All 14 of my members are offering different shipping options. You can go online or call them and you can still get your favorite flavors because God knows we definitely need it right now. Some of them are doing curbside pickup. You can just call ahead and they'll bring it right out to you, which I think we're all going to get a little used to that kind of service. And some of them are even doing local delivery. If you live nearby, they'll just drop it off to you. So instant case of wine right there for you. I know they're eager to see people, but they're not ready to be unsafe. So for now, a lot of it is digital, but you can still get your wine. or your juice boxes, which
Yes.
and yeah, unfortunately, a lot of them have canceled their summer events as well, just with the unknown. But they're still there to support you in the vino way you need.
Yep. You know, one of the things that I see a lot of chatter, especially on social media, about why events that are happening in July, August, September are being canceled.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are saying, how do you know that we won't be able to have them? And I think unless you are like all of us, and especially you, Kathy, who are in event planning, they don't understand that we start planning these events a year out.
Oh, yeah.
And so much time and energy, money, resources go into planning these events. And I wish there was a misconception. I think that people think we're just being lazy in canceling events that are maybe happening in the fall. But so much planning happens months in advance.
As an example, for those of you listening who might think that, go away. That's the smell of my wine. We had our wine and herb event. We should have had it the last weekend of April and the first weekend of May. We ordered the herbs in October.
Right.
For them to buy the seeds and start the seedlings, and then they eventually transplant them to larger pots. Luckily, all of this happened before they were transplanted into pots, but we still ended up having to, pay for the seedlings because the order was already started.
Yeah.
And we had to make a decision based on just the longevity of the herbs. We couldn't delay the event because the herbs wouldn't survive. Right. And we had to make a decision before they transplanted them from seedling to pot, or else it would have been an even larger setback for everyone involved. So just little things like that, unfortunately.
Yeah,
that's my example.
It's all the pieces that people don't see that are so far in advance. It's everybody's making the wisest decisions that they can possibly make to keep everybody healthy, to keep everybody safe.
Yeah.
Well, and I think at the end of the day, none of us who are involved in these events, whether it's from just promotion, which is primarily what Finger Lakes Wine Country does, or the actual planning or participating, none of us want to cancel these events. None of us want to see the work go away. None of us want to see these events not happen. And it's, I saw a post early on when somebody was sharing that an event that they had been working on diligently had been canceled, and they're saying, you don't understand when you lash out on Facebook, which is the land of flashing. But you don't understand that the person, like the event coordinator from that event, went home and cried on their partner's shoulder because they can't believe they can't have this event. And there's so many people and so much that goes into these, and it's terrible. It's really sad and it's really hard, but the safety of, our community, the safety of, for any of our visitors is the utmost importance. And we just have to keep that in mind.
Yeah. And for our organizations, the events are our revenue, and that's how we create our brochure and, get the word out there that we're there. And so we don't want to lose those events. We want you to come. We want that revenue so we can continue to find more creative ways to bring you. But it's just the nature of the beast right now. Yeah. The first event we canceled was 1 week before it was supposed to start. So literally everything was in place. Luckily, it was our Bacon on the Lake event in March 18th, I think the date was. It's not a heavily what's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't have a lot to it on the inside. We didn't have we had all the glasses, all the tickets, but there wasn't a lot of different pieces, unfortunately, that went to waste, like an herb event would have.
Right. Yeah.
So I still have all that stuff. You're going to see it in 2021.
Yeah,
if we have large events then. May have the wrong date on it, but
whatever.
But that was right when we were mandated. Yeah.
Everybody will understand.
Yeah. It's just the date on a ticket. Who cares?
Right. And when we do finally open, and there will be a finally open, I think our locals, our visitors from further afar are going to be so excited to come and participate in what Finger Lakes Wine Country and what the Cayuga Lake Wine Trail has to offer, because it was taken away.
Yes, it was.
And I think people are going to have a renewed appreciation for not only being able to go to events like, Bacon on the Lake Inn or
Just live music.
The live music.
Yeah.
Sitting with your friends and drinking in real life over technology, and being together. That is everybody's going to have a different perspective about that. So if there's a silver lining to any of these clouds,
the silver lining to everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely that.
I would agree. It's hard, it's hard, but I think that there is a light at the end of the tunnel somewhere in the distance, and I think we all will be more appreciative of the little things that mean so much to us. So I know, Kathy, we had talked before we started our brunch episode about sharing some recipes, and I know that have you been doing a lot of cooking at home, or?
Oh, I love to bake, and so right now my office is directly in front of my kitchen, so oftentimes I'll kind of be taking little breaks while my yeast rises or something. I have a whole stack of stuff I'm constantly baking. I made hamburger buns. I have made sandwich bread. I have some cookies in front of me. I think that's why this is happening, is because I have cookies out. So I saw floating around on social media the DoubleTree by Hilton copycat. So I made. Can I hold it up?
Oh my gosh!
I made it. It's got. Here, you can take it. It's got 3 cups of chocolate. It's got 3 cups of chocolate chips, ground oats, and then chopped walnuts. A little bit of cinnamon and lemon juice, which you can't actually taste either of those specifically, but it adds.
Tasted the lemon.
It tastes so good.
Yeah.
And one batch makes 22 cookies because they are massive.
Right.
I made them for Mother's Day. I've also been really into lemon bars because lemon is just so fresh and optimistic tasting.
Yeah.
And a little sour. I like the tart.
I do too. A lot. I've never made a lemon bar.
They're really good. I put them in the freezer, and you can eat them directly out of the freezer as a little late night sneaky snack, because the shortbread is so thin, you don't need to let it thaw, just right out of the freezer. That's my guilty pleasure lately.
I love that.
Good.
Yeah.
That sounds so good. Do you have a specific recipe for the lemon bars that you use?
I use Pioneer Woman's lemon bars. Yes. It takes 4 lemons, and zesting 4 lemons and juicing 4 lemons is not a fun task, but it is well worth it.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
That's all that
and
matters.
I should put some limoncello in it, actually. I wonder if I could figure that out. I'll have to ask the chef over at Knapp what he would recommend. Could I substitute some of the juice for the limoncello? I wonder if I could. I didn't even think of that until just now.
There you go. I love that.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Are your lemon bars, so are they baked?
Yes. So you bake the crust first, and then you bake the lemon part, and then you chill it for a couple hours, sprinkle the powdered sugar on the top, cut it up, and it's supposed to be refrigerated, but I pop it in the freezer just so it lasts longer. And so it's a little less tempting because it's not there every time I open the fridge.
Yeah, smart.
I make tons of cookies and just put them in the freezer and snack on them that way. Because I love to bake, so I'll bake for no reason. And then I'll have stuff, so I just put it in the freezer for whenever.
Wow.
I wish there was, the Rona fairies that's been going on and
Yeah.
leaving the wine porch stuff. I wish there was a baked good one. I would just leave little bags of cookies all around the neighborhood.
I don't think anyone would complain.
No. I find it therapeutic. I call it flour therapy. And I've especially gotten into breads lately with the yeast and stuff like that. Please stop making faces.
Yeah.
But you know, I like
What?
doing
It's
it.
making a weird
and-
noise.
I go for bubble therapy.
Mm,
That's
Oh, I drink while I bake if it's a weekend. That's for sure.
yeah,
That's when I had that limoncello cocktail.
that sounds
Listening to
amazing.
90s 2000s playlist.
Oh, even better.
hmm
That
And
sounds,
I was alone.
isn't it the best?
I know. Yes.
We love you boys so much, but
yes.
But come on.
come on. Yep. No, that sounds perfect. Well, man, we have had so much fun today.
Yeah.
I'll mail you cookies. Give me your address.
Oh my gosh, we're in.
We are
Sign
definitely in.
me up.
I
That's
already
so
know
fun.
the addresses.
So cute.
That's what you think.
What is my foot on?
Well, anyway, thank you so much for joining us, Kathy. We appreciate you and Evan having some fun with us this morning.
Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Well, we hope that you and everyone on the Cayuga Lake Wine Trail are, hanging in there, and we can't wait to see everyone soon. See, this is what it's all about, right? Well, we hope you guys all have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. Thank you, Lori, for joining us this morning too. And we will see you all next time for another
Bye.
episode of FLX Brunch.
Thanks for having us.